In 2008, a group of college students were like, hey, what if we made a visual novel together and it could be like about guns and girls and stuff? It went pretty well. They made stuff like Girls of the Bakehouse and Toho Project Modern Warfare. So then they did the unthinkable. They went and made a gacha game with hundreds of guns. And hundreds of guns equals hundreds of waifus to marry, and with all different and unique personalities. They called it Girls Frontline. And it was one of the first gacha games I've ever played. But what's after a gacha game? Boom. Anime, comics, manga, you name it, they probably did it. They even got music labels. Then, in 2020, a sequel was announced, and I was hyped. I was excited to see my favorite weapon in 3D combined with a more tactical-based gameplay. In 2021, NeuroCloud was released. I didn't play this one. Then, on December 3rd, 2024, Girls Frontline 2 was released, and I exploded. I immediately went to Steam and finally get my hand on a new copy of... Oh, it's unavailable. After like a day of trying to run this game on Linux, I managed to bypass the login bug and finally play the freaking game. I'm gonna be spoiling a lot in this video, so fair warning. Girls Frontline 2 is a strategy game where you can command T-dolls, which are pretty much robots. Don't worry, I'll get to that lore bit. What I want to talk about in this section is the gameplay, and while it is simple, it requires a lot of neuron activation. Think of it like chess. First, you open up your units, making sure to position at an optimal spot to either predict the AI or set up a vantage point. Then, start to either focus fire or spread the damage. Enemies can range from bandits number 42 to infected wildlife and other robots. Sometimes girls. Look, if you're fighting a woman in this game, chances are she's not real. That's right. The chatbot have grown skin. Each enemy has their own weakness to different status and weapon type. Your dolls have these too. As of right now, the game is very easy and you honestly don't have to worry too much about the story mode. Okay, this mode is literally Nikkei. They even made the character wear beach skins. Moving on from the constant wildlife hunting, we head back onto the Elmo. Each T-doll has their own unique skill and animation. I mean, the game just looks incredible. You can really feel the fabrics on her gloves. I swear this is vital to the lore. They even got the dorm system, which is wow. You need to okay. This game rivals Miyazaki on feat fidelity. Beside that is the dispatch room, where we have the power to send the dolls on 20 hours, no break, no overtime, expedition. Fortunately, Girls Frontline 2 isn't just a game about strategy, it's a game about gambling. You see, Girls Frontline 2 is also a gacha game, which means that the primary mechanic in this game is chance. Every weapon is chance. Every piece of attachment is chance. Do you know what it's like to get HP defense on your sniper? The gacha chance is as bad as Genshin, but at least the game is very free to play friendly, except for the skin. You gotta buy that. Speaking of skin, if you like this video so far, please like and share. I really want to get these from a content event. Thank you. With that being said, let me tell you about my favorite team and characters. So far, my favorite character hasn't been released yet. Heck, I don't even know if she'll come to the game. I would say that Girls Frontline 2 lean more towards the looter side for a tactical war game, but then I realized it has always been this way. Yes, you can still marry the guns. I am not kidding. But besides the unreleased character, my favorite so far is Krolik, who trivialized any retrieval missions. I wish I could say she's one of the best, but she's literally the worst character in the game based on these tier lists. But that's why I play waifu over meta, since the game is way easier than you think. Team composition can vary, so just choose whatever you need or just, look up a guide for your favorite character. So far, I don't have many characters since the gacha keeps giving me guns, but recently I've shifted over to putting random stuff down. And I'm serious, you can get away with a lot of things in this game just from pure positioning and also game knowledge alone. Like, for instance, shoot the healer. If you don't, she's going to show you what the definition of failure cascade is. All in all, this may look like another over-sexualized game, but it just looks like that so they can actually make money. And besides, if I'm going to spend hours of my time looking at something, I hope I'm looking at something nice, Plus, as much as I hate gacha game ads, Yeah, they got me. They got me, you know? Like, I came across HK 416 and I don't even gotta say anything, honestly. Though, loot can only get you so far, which is why I stayed for the gameplay, and I'm not kidding here, the story. What? I promise to be real. It's incredibly long and a bit hard to get into, but it's good. It's dark and it's gritty, and incredibly expansive. Basically, the world rediscovered this thing called collapse fluid, and it's bad. Think of it like the Resident Evil virus mixed with a handheld nuclear bomb. This sparked an arm race amongst all the nation to weaponize the substance. Then, after two major incidents that basically left some spot of the world becoming uninhabitable dead zones, every nation grew to deeply distrust one another. Then, the Third World War began. Europe was pretty much destroyed at this point, so they started investing in robotics and all the other nations soon followed. But the Soviets were the one who invested the hardest, creating the first variation of the tactical dolls, or T-dolls for short. Basically, these guys. After destroying even more of the Earth, the nation finally came to a ceasefire and went into seclusion. The situation at home was so bad that the Northern European government had to hire private military contractors, or PMC for short, to deal with the warlords and rebellions forming from the deep unrest. Since these people had access to military weapons left behind by the government, the PMC actually suffered a lot and soon invested heavily into dull research. The one we focus most on is the PMC Griffin and Kruger, or Griffin for short. Griffin partnered with a researcher who happens to be the leading force in dull research. And you know what that researcher did? Since the dolls were being used to suppress rebellion and quell the threats that the military and police couldn't do, they weren't looked at favorably. That's when our favorite scientist came up with the brilliant idea of making them more lifelike. So he basically went like, hey, you know how everyone's kind of afraid of these killing machines, right? Alright, now, hear me out. T-dolls? But they're anime girls. And just in the span of 10 years, Griffin became the leading force in Europe. I'm not making this up. We literally have the design and personality thanks to these guys. Like, they even have VTuber. Keep in mind that behind the cutesy sexy girls, these dolls are basically super soldiers that don't need to eat, sleep, or drink. When they die, they can just come back through the neural cloud. Oh yeah, and then did I mention that you can marry them yet? Cause you can. Granted, you do have to gain their trust, of course. I mean, come on, you gotta treat them well. Then, in 2062, this is when you come along. A fresh new recruit in Griffin, ready to command your own T-doll forces. Hey, this isn't such a bad job.
Focus station! We're out of fucking time! The world is on the fucking brink of war!
Whose war? Who?
You alright?
I think the story is much more lax in the second game. I mean, you went from a lot of dark topics and constant depressing things happening, then you're in the second game and Rosa just won't stop spinning whenever she shoots a grenade launcher. Nemesis has brain rot, I'm pretty sure, and I find that really funny because only Krolik understands the brain rot. Coffney, it's kind of annoying to me, but you know, I get it. She's going through character development. There's only like 6 chapters right now, and who knows, maybe the story's gonna get a lot darker. But the gist of it is like this. A mysterious box needs to be delivered. There's a girl inside it. Find out more about the girl. Keep the girl safe. Old Faces shows up, and it's a real treat to see them again. I mean, Kalina went from this to this. And oh yeah, the animation is just amazing. While I've only been speaking nothing but positivity for this game, I would be lying to myself if I said that this game didn't have any negatives. Firstly, Broly should be able to hit around her, like, why can't she hit the corners? And secondly, it is shown in her neural upgrade that she can hit multiple people with her 4th ability, and yet in-game? Though, in the first game, there was this thing called modding. There are 3 tiers for modding a character, with the 3rd one being their peak form. And 99% of the time, modding will turn a weaker character into a more viable doll. This, coupled with a new look and dialogue, was what made me really enjoy the first game. I feel like it would be a significant resource sink if Micah team actually went through with this, but who knows? The developers are known to never give up on their game even when things aren't looking so well profit-wise. Heck, They went through the dumbest drama of their entire career, which nearly took their game down. Actually, they went through multiple stupid drama. But through it all, Girls Frontline continues to stand amongst the giant of its peers with its own 2 legs, and I hope the game continues to thrive. I'm totally not buttering them up so that they buff Crowley.